Roberts. This is Every Damn Day Fitness. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 all that shit. I'm here with the director of Fattopia, Conor Simpson. Conor, I want you to introduce yourself. Can they find you? Talk about your projects. Just everything you got.
Yeah, I'm Conor Simpson. As Alan said, I directed and released Fattopia August 9th, so that was last year. And recently, my new film came out, The Dark Side of Fat Acceptance. It came out a few days ago, which is a documentary looking at sort of the more sinister side of the fat acceptance movement, which I think is becoming more and more prevalent.
What got you started? What prompted you to do the first one?
Well, I've always wanted to make films and stuff, and it's actually a school project. And they said, you got to make a short documentary, and I was kind of looking for topics, and then I saw the Tess Holiday cover, and from that I started watching a few videos, and then my YouTube feed was recommended stuff back to me, and then I was kind of like, I don't believe that this is a real movement, and so I was looking into it. And when I made Fattopia, I was very naive to what was going on. I think the first time I really started to experience what I guess the dark side of fat acceptance looks like was I just uploaded a post saying, "Hey, I'm making this film. Would anybody be interested?" And you got the cis white man comments, the fat phobe, thin privilege, everything, and that's from that point I had to start looking into what some of those words meant.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like, what is it? Like, I'm so old school. I was like, what does cis mean?
Yeah.
So now I'm designated as the gender I was born as. Like, wouldn't that just be I don't understand how that needs a designation. Like, in my mind, I shouldn't have to add like something to my identity because other people want to add stuff to theirs. And I would just, for the record, I don't care what people identify as. I don't. I mean, I say in a lot of my videos, I don't. Like, to me, everybody deserves health and everybody deserves love and stuff like that. Like, I don't. I personally don't have any issues with that. When it gets to it being in sports and stuff like that, a little different because there's obviously some issues there. But
yeah, totally.
But what a person wants to identify as, I mean, if they let me know, I'll refer to them however they want to be referred, just because that doesn't affect me in a negative way. I really believe that.
I think the thing as well that's kind of confusing when you get these, whether it's what you identify as or whatever, it gets confusing because you kind of, initially what I thought, and I still do to this day really, is what has that got to do with obesity or fatness or whatever. So that was sort of like a point that I have to try to get over and try to see where they were coming from.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, I think the tie-in, especially a lot of fat acceptance people, in my opinion, of course, a lot of times they pull it in as it's almost like a extra layer of "don't fuck with me"-ish. It's the same thing as like when they call people fat phobic, like they add the phobic on the end of it because it, like, nobody wants to be homophobic, nobody wants to be this phobic, nobody wants that phobic. I mean, I actually have I have a book as a project to talk about fat phobia, like, because we just released. And that, by the way, have you gotten that yet too? Like, I wanted to ask you, just in case people don't know, Conor recently released a documentary called The Dark Side of Fat Acceptance. I think and I watched it last night for the first time. Very good. And just in case anybody's wondering out there, my wife and I did purchase it. He didn't send it to us or give it to us, but I tend to think that people add the ick to it, like the phobia-ish to it, to add on. And I'm going to write a book about that, I think. And I had people reach out to me and be like, so it's interesting that you released your book, because I did just release a book. I actually re-edited and re-released a book on Amazon called Fuck Being Fat, Learn, Solve Your Weight Problems Once and For All with Math and Willpower. And it used to just be called Math and Willpower. And I had a bunch of people like suggest that we timed this, like, for me to release the book and then you to release the documentary. Like, people, like, there's not. We're not that deep, motherfuckers.
Especially with Fattopia, there was a lot, because I know you, Michelle, Beast to Beast, and everything started kind of. I say in the film, in The Dark Side of Fat Acceptance, that there was a lot of hate going on, and I was very much sort of in the trenches. And then once a few people, started sending a little bit of support, it got a little bit better. But I know there was things going around, paid everyone, and nobody. I didn't pay anybody to.
Well, you guys reached out by email to me first, I believe, which my wife and I saw, because my wife signed in on all my social media and shit like that. And that's just, when you run businesses together, it's just a smart way of that. And I do have ADHD, so it's like I will fucking see an email and then a bird will fly by and I won't fucking remember it, and that's just true. But she's the business person, But she was like, hey, these people want to see if you want to, get sponsored by their video. And I read what you wrote, and I remember emailing back. I was like, fuck, I don't even want, like, if it's something that'll help like people get healthy and open people's eyes a little bit, I don't even give a fuck about the money, because my wife and I make a decent living doing what we do. But if it's something that I can stand behind, like, that's the type of shit I like doing, And I remember sending it to you back, like, I just want to see the fucking film. I don't, if I, because I hate, like, people would take endorsements about shit and then they have to speak nice, and if I hated it, I wanted to be able to fuck you up, just to be honest, because you don't know, like Fattopia, you could be being like really overtly rude to obese people who are trying to just lose weight, and I stand very much against that shit. I really do. And although I'm painted in a much different light by a lot of the people from your documentary, and
which is a strange part, right? Because I never feel like we're saying anything that bad. We're very. I think both our positions are. We're very caring. I even with weight stigma or something like that, I recognize that, and I can see that people go through the things that they go through when there's weight stigma involved. But it's when the sort of the fat phobic and the thin privilege and stuff get brought into account, then I start questioning things a little bit more.
Yeah, I deal with a huge portion of our clients are morbidly obese, and we're just trying to be healthier, develop better healthy habits and stuff like that. Because my wife and I, we're not mental health professionals. We're the kind of people that come after, because once they find out what the issues are that cause them to have food addiction or binge eating disorder, we're the person that helps them develop healthy lifestyle habits after that, And so we deal a lot with morbidly obese people, and I was morbidly obese myself. I have my own issues with food that I talk about rather openly. We truly try to make sure that, like, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I personally think that somebody lying to you about your physical health and well-being is just as bad as somebody saying a slur about you. I think many people in the fat acceptance community are just as bad towards obese people as anybody that would call them some sort of derogatory slur or name. I really do, just because I think that the worst thing you can do is pander to somebody, like lie to them that could possibly hurt them, and convince them that they're okay when they're not, and it's just being morbidly obese is flat out blatantly unhealthy. We even when I did Mutual Ground with you guys, we even had a doctor agree with that. Which I found funny.
I think one of the reasons why I was thinking when I was making this film as well, like why you're sort of seen as like the boogeyman of that.
That's a new one to add.
Of the fat acceptance movement, and I think because of the fitness ties, and I don't know if other people have seen this, but I've seen a lot of fat activists start promoting the idea that if you're not, if you eliminate fat bodies, how they phrase it, or if you're in the business of making people lose weight or anything like that, or helping them lose weight, right. You are anti-fat acceptance, because they even say to their own that you can't be fat acceptance and lose weight, or even body positive.
It's just crazy. Like, the most positive thing you can do for your body is make sure it's healthy and lasts a long time. It's one of the, that's what I often call it. Like, I don't get too technical with anything. I know the technical stuff of fitness very well, but I think that that stuff gets drowned out in all the droves and droves and droves of people trying to sell this gimmick and that gimmick. There's very few gimmicky things about fitness. It's very basic, and I think that gets lost. And the fitness, I have several very popular videos that talk about the fitness community, basically bred the fat acceptance community.
Yeah.
with the stupid fucking ridiculous diets and products and all sorts of bullshit. And if you don't have a six pack, you're not shit. I don't have a six pack. I don't plan on one. I have had them before. I hated it. But to me, them call me the boogeyman, which is interesting. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like when you have a platform of any kind, you got to be ready for people to dislike you. I mean, I always say like it's kind of a statement on how poor the fitness world and the health of the world is, that I like a middle-aged bald man. It's like snaggletooth, fucking baggy-eyed, fucking ugly-ass motherfucker can gain a following by telling simple basic facts about health and fitness, because that's literally what I do. I just take people's ridiculous bullshit about fitness. I kind of just be like, look how stupid this is, and whether it be fat acceptance or fitness people. And I found your first video, your first film, Fattopia, I found it to be very much the same way. Like almost like I had wondered if you'd watch some of my stuff, to be real, before.
I did when I was making videos, and I kind of started on YouTube and then went out and did the research there. I think some of the earlier stuff that I came across you was kind of the Boogie stuff and that kind of, and I was actually a follower of Boogie, so I was a bit like, this guy's an asshole. And then I came back, actually listened to the videos, and I was like, the exterior, like I said, like not necessarily a persona, but what you see, the swearing and everything. It's you listen to the message behind it. It's not just what you see.
Well, I grew up in a time and an era when like saying like it's a word. Like I don't fucking care. I was a corporate executive before I did this, so I had to live restrained, with how I spoke. And I think people can see by sometimes the comments I write back, like the smart comments I write back to people, and even when talking to the doctor. Like if I have to sit and talk technical, I can very much do the fucking suit and tie, studious person when I need to. I pride myself on knowing the shit I talk about. I read study after study after study all the time. That's literally what my wife and I do. And I make sure I know what the fuck I'm talking about, or I don't talk about it. Like, and that's unfortunate that most fitness people don't do that. They think they're an expert in everything just because they know one thing. I think we're seeing that like on the shows like The Biggest Loser. How the fuck you doing, Steve? What's up? But shit like that. But I absolutely don't like to fucking restrain myself. Like I like being me, and if me getting my stuff across has to be disseminated with the word fuck a million times and shit and bastard and goddamn and motherfucker and all that shit, if that's what it takes for me to be able to eloquently, like my way, get shit across, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just not going to fucking change for nobody,
No, it's entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why, I mean, there's been several like people reach out interested in like TV shows or TV appearances and shit like that. I'm like, well, I'm not fucking, I mean, if it like, I've had a bunch of people recently like, well, you guys should do your own Biggest Loser, like see about getting backing into a Biggest Loser. And I would like, I've not been approached for something like that, but we've been approached for like a weight loss thing where I said like the talks went dead when I pretty much said I would want complete autonomy over the training. Like it's not going to be exciting. It's going to be boring, but I want complete autonomy over it because I actually want to help the fucking people. And it was like, all of a sudden they stopped talking to me. So, and that's just TV and stuff. And I get it. I actually don't really have any drive or want to be on TV. So, because I get enough attention this way,
I'm surprised that you haven't been approached for any stuff like I don't know what it's like in the States, but I know in the UK we always have like debates on different shows, and I think you reacted a few of the Good Morning Britain ones with Piers Morgan and stuff. So that goes on, well, and he's sort of seen as quite bad over here, and he's done some pretty not great stuff. But I think he's sort of almost seen as sort of a champion for let's have some common sense about this issue.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, he's just like every person that speaks up about, a broad range of subjects. Like, I don't agree with everything he has to say, of course. I think he does a good job on the fat acceptance stuff. But I don't agree with anything 100% anybody says, I don't think, besides Crystal, besides my wife. I really do. I really don't. Oftentimes, like when it's about politics, like why the fuck would people care what I fucking think anyway? But when it comes about, the stuff that I consider myself, a part of the industry and all like that, I like what he says about it. I think he's very correct. I also think he gets a lot of the same backlash I do. He gets backlash when people say, well, you're not healthy either. That's completely fucking irrelevant. Like I've had what is this cis white man? We get into that shit. Say like, what does my race, my gender, my age, what does that have to do with anything? Like, a fact is a fact, no matter who presents it or how it's presented or what words are around it or anything like that. I think that we get too caught up in like destroying. If it's a fact, we get too caught up in trying to destroy the person saying it when we don't like it, instead of just trying to absorb the fact. I think you did a good job on your on Fattopia presenting very factual stuff. But then I really saw it because I've been there, I think. But yeah. I really saw you trying to like get these people like to understand why there was such such hatred towards people that question,
And that's the thing. I didn't expect. I was naive when I went into it.
Shit.
I put the post up a few fat acceptance hashtags. I didn't know we weren't allowed to use them. And then I was like, damn, this movement is something different to what I thought it was. So that's how it kind of took a life of its own there as well.
Yeah, I'm getting that lately too. Like, these hashtags aren't for you. Like, they're fucking words, and until they take away my First Amendment rights in my country, I'll fucking say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I've had a few inboxes as well. Like, these you can't use these are ours and everything. That's.
And I've gotten the you're hurting people by using these because they'll see these things. Like, don't go on the fucking if you want to avoid hurtful shit, don't go on the fucking internet.
And easily just block the person, and then you won't ever see them again.
Well, I think I'm the most blocked person. I was joking about this. I think I'm the most blocked person in fitness. I really do. I think I'm the most blocked person in fitness, and that's fine. Like, I mean, like that's perfectly good. I've made it to the point where I've restricted some accounts because all they'll do is spam like people that follow me. But I don't block anybody anymore because, very frankly, they're just going to create a new account just to see what we're doing, and that's fine. And like blocking people on Instagram is stupid because you can like pull them up on a browser and see what they're fucking saying anyway. So I mean,
I had to do that with is it Sonally? I had no idea how I was blocked for some reason, so I had no idea. I don't think I've ever commented, messaged or anything. I went over to get some stuff for the dark side, and she was, she
for a while blocked anybody that followed me.
Really?
Yeah, like it's weird, like because 4 years ago, dude, this started as a joke between me and my wife, and it's weird to like even realize like people were actually like listening and shit, and obviously taking steps, and that was what your second video was about, the dark side. Excuse me. No, it's not Corona. So, jeez. Before anybody gets starting it, in the second one, I was actually it's weird, like for my wife and I, because we hadn't watched it. Nobody had, like, just so everybody knows, I paid for my copy. Just like, I mean, Conor offered to send it to me because I was actually spoken about in the video, and I said no. I want to make sure I support it and buy it. That way, I wouldn't want anybody. I can show that I purchased it. That way, nobody can think that I some way paid. The only way I paid for it was because I paid for the actual fucking video. Because
I mean, I was actually going to put some coupons out for even the contributors, but the website provider doesn't let me do that. So there's absolutely no way anyway that I can.
Like, any way you can do it. Well, that's good. But I just want to make sure everybody knew, like, I did not actually produce this fucking thing. Crazy. But I mean, basically after Fattopia started, and I do not talk about this because I think it's just kind of fucking laughable. But right after Fattopia went on, I did some reviews and I fucking loved it. And I offered to openly debate anybody that would be non-anonymous because I do not give the fucking time of day to people that don't have the conviction enough to actually put their actual name behind something. I just made a video yesterday where I'm kind of like, I'm making videos about The Biggest Loser, and we're all the fat activists about this shit. Like what the fuck? Like put your name on this shit. Like if it's actually what you believe, put your name on it. And
it's weird in that situation because you're actually standing up for the rights of fat people.
Absolutely, it's a horrible show. It's dehumanizing on every fucking way. I don't even know how the fuck what kind of fucking waiver do these people sign? There's no waiver. There's no waiver that these people can possibly sign that is actually true enough to I don't. These people are not aware. Don't have the gravity of what is happening to them. They are being abused on nationwide television. In my opinion, it's disgusting. Like I mean, it really. I get fucking me watch. I've got to the point where I hate it. Like I hate having to watch it because I hadn't watched all of it before. Like I hadn't watched. As a trainer, I had seen an episode or two in the past, and I fucking hated it. So I didn't watch the whole fucking season. Now I committed to doing this weekly update. I fucking hate it. Like I mean, it like upsets me on a level like that. I'm happy that I watch it alone in the damn gym. Like it's the garage gym. Like I watch it on my desk. Like the next day, it's so fucking horrific that. And then I think about like people like clients of mine that like have said that they used to watch the show and shit like that, like what they must have fucking thought when they were going through this, because it's just so bad, And I think that's one of the reasons why that a lot of even the fat acceptance community hasn't spoken out about it, because they don't want to in any way, no matter what I fucking say, in any way show support in my direction. So they don't even want to agree with it. I mean, they're just not talking about it, and I find that fucking.
I think it's even crazy that a show like that has been renewed or whatever in the world we live in today. I just can't believe that there hasn't been more uproar about it.
I agree, but there's none. That's what I'm like. It's such a true. Like I think it's a twofold thing. I think that a certain level of the like lower level fat acceptance people don't want to agree with people like me. And I think some of the higher ones, like I made it like Jamila Jamil, who does iWeight, and Tess Holiday. They're worried about their money. Like they don't actually. But if you're worried about your money, how much do you actually? How much do you actually agree? Like how much do you actually believe? Because I'll tell you this right now. Like if I realized that I was in some way aligned with something like that, supporting that, there's no fucking like even get me out of my fucking contract. Do whatever you fucking need to do. I would do whatever I needed to do. Like the people, the personal trainers, and I don't even know if they are personal trainers. Like I know they're fitness personalities. That's how I refer to them, because they're not fitness professionals. Nobody that's a fitness professional, nobody that's actually a fitness professional would be a coach on that show and coach people the way they're coaching. Nobody. They are a blight on the fucking face of fitness. They're a joke. And I mean, I've had people like be like, well, they're this, that, you should show them some respect. I owe them nothing. They're nothing to me. That I think that's one of the reasons why I tend to piss people off so much is that just because I'm supposed to do something by standard, I don't. So fuck them.
Don't you feel just you mentioned like someone like Tess, if she came out with a really well-reasoned response, she would probably have to go through a manager or all that sort of stuff, a team in support of that. That could work in her favor a lot for a lot of people that see, that are maybe against her. If you came forward and said something really reasonable, people would acknowledge that, because we're not like I've had like anti-fat and we're anti-Tess Holiday and we try to bully her and all that sort of stuff. But if she did something like that, I think we'd both acknowledge.
Well, my most recent video about her before yesterday was in support of her, like that she had apparently started trying to be healthy. Like it had said on her Instagram that she tried, and I said, as long as I see that going on, I've got nothing more to say. And I hadn't made a video about her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's since taken that back and everything like that. And I just wonder where the fuck she's like. I see her promoting Fabletics, but there's this horrific show. Like, it is such a fucking horrific show. It is everything that should be fucking tweaking them out. Like, they should have forgot about me a long time ago and been on this fucking show, hot and heavy. I mean, they're just not. I mean, they're just, I find it disgusting, and that's why some of the people that that your documentary's about. It's not actually. They're just trying to do their thing, like they're just trying to entertain themselves and be mean and shit like that. I think that what people don't know is that the people, the majority of the people that were involved in the documentary you're making of, I believe it's Amelia and Gary. I mean, I don't have anything against them. I really, really don't. They published our corporate address with the words, "because I don't play," and then they're trying to say it's not a threat. Okay, but I mean, it's when you're a public figure, that shit happens. I've been receiving death threats for 4 fucking years. Okay, what next? People showing up. People showing up at my house. This is not to sound like a tough guy or anything like that, but I'm grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I'm a Second Amendment rights advocate, and I don't want to get all political and stuff like that, but I believe we should be able to own weapons. I own weapons, and anybody showing up at my house in a stand your ground state, knocking on doors with bad intentions, is probably not going to like what happens. To me, I announce where I'm going to be all the time. I was just in Atlanta. I said the hotel I was going to be at, shit like that. I announced where I'm going to be for my charity event, Sit Food for Six in Florida, Port St. Lucie, Florida, at Bird Built Fitness on the 18th. So I don't hide. So that's why I was we just kind of found it laughing. There was an interaction, by the way, between the one lady, or I don't want to misgender her and upset her. So the one person, Gary.
I think she does go as female. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
that's her pronouns. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's like a triple-edged sword, because you cannot somehow or another. I did something wrong just now by not trying to misgender her. Fuck it, in our society. But she had actually reached out to,
isn't it?
Yeah, she had reached out to my wife, who is my wife is the actual business person. She is the CEO of all our fucking. My wife is people sleep on her a lot. Meaning they kind of just discount her as my wife. My wife has 2 degrees, a degree in communication, a degree in business management. She's the CEO of all 3 of our companies. I'm either the COO or something like that. And she, she's a smart, very logic-driven woman. A lot of what I joke about it a lot, but a lot of the videos you see are videos her and I have discussed, and I just kind of add the swear words. She's, highly trained in just about every aspect of fitness. And so one of them reached out to her and was like, "Hey, your husband's horrible and he's doing this." And she was like, "Well, I'm sorry you're misunderstanding his message." And it went right to, well, he either abuses you or you abuse him.
Exactly what my girlfriend got as well.
I was like, what the fuck? First of all, my wife is the human embodiment of yoga. She, if you ever, when people meet her, first of all, they wonder how she's with me, but she's the human embodiment of yoga, and I just find it, I find it crazy that they would go there. I mean, when you think about it, this woman does not know. First of all, if let's take this to a whole scenario, and this is how I knew not to take them seriously at all, because they really don't care about people. They're just trying to be mean to people. And here's how. And this is just logic, so people can follow along real easy. This is what I do, right? After your logic standards. This woman supposedly is for all women, women who have been, marginalized or blah, blah, blah. She's very against violence towards women, everything like that, okay? So if for some reason she was correct and there was abuse somehow in our relationship and it was me abusing her, she's now basically abused this woman again, throwing it in her face, and I found that just fucking unreal. Okay,
and to throw that out without any sort of
without
evidence to think that what does that
at all
negating real abuse and stuff like that.
She has no idea if my wife was abused before me, which my wife had wrote a very, very candid blog on her website, Damn Straight Athletics, called Serenity in the Midst of Chaos. And it's how she found yoga because she was in a very seriously abusive relationship, about 2 decades before me. And, yoga is kind of what helped her have the strength to leave and, do her thing. Right. And so, I mean, she has now actually said something that would be very, very harming to somebody that's been through, an abusive relationship, which my wife has.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I can freely say that because, like I said, she did write that blog about it, and here's the thing, like, so then you're going to like literally turn that to now she's abusing me. I mean, and then I'm talking like we saw all sorts of posts and stuff like that about it, like with Crystal's, like Crystal hurt her foot and like they were like happy she hurt her foot. I was like, oh, can't take this shit seriously. And then all the other accounts, I
think there was one for me. I was sitting just someone took the picture, obviously, but I was sitting there just on a hill and there's a nice sunset, or whatever, and I just put the caption "lonely," and then they repost it, and there's nothing makes me feel more happy than seeing him lonely. It's just,
I don't like for somebody. I'm like I said, I'm fairly used to it. But like when it's that the logic is that paper thin. At one point in time, they were doing this thing where they were talking about Lizzo and like how Lizzo feels when Alan Roberts is talking negatively about her and this and that. Like at this stage, they're not even watching my videos because the first video I did was like kind of in support of Lizzo being able to shake her ass wherever she fucking felt like it or wear whatever she wanted. So like I actually took a lot of heat from like my audience about saying like I don't give a fuck about her shaking her ass at a Laker game,
Yeah.
And she just saw the title of the video, and I said something about Lizzo, I think, and all these posts. I'm like, I hope people go. Like it's like they're advertising for me. So like I was getting comments like, I was told this video is against Lizzo. What the fuck? Like little comments like that in the comment section. Same thing. Like I have an Obesity Kills T-shirt. You can buy that in this product shelf below. Everybody, it's like right down there. I think it's the first one. Obesity Kills. Buy that shit. But I released it, and they were giving me shit about having the word kills in the hyperlink, and I didn't realize it, right? So I posted something pissed off. They're like, I can't believe that they're not going to fucking let me sell this shirt, right? And like minutes later, like 3 or 4 accounts like posted up like, it's at this link, go report this, blah, blah,
I've
blah.
seen those posts, when
my sales spiked so much. It was fucking like I was like, they're fucking advertising for me. Like I should like cut them in on a fucking deal somehow, like give them an affiliate link or something, because like the shirt sales went fucking crazy, and it was meant as a gag. Like I mean, most of the shirts I do are meant as a gag, like fucks millions spoken, zero given. But that's actually true. But I watched when I watched the documentary, I didn't realize like I knew some of the people that support Crystal and I were getting like hazed basically because what they would do is like they would come on to like shit I would see or shit I would do, and they would see anybody that commented or liked, and they would go fucking how do you feel about supporting your how do you feel about supporting a racist because I'm I like
they don't seem to lead with fatphobic anymore, which is it's because a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? So now they attach something else completely different, and I'm like, well,
let's be clear. Fat phobia doesn't exist. There's no irrational fear of being fat. Like a phobia is an irrational fear. Like you can't really have an irrational fear of being obese. If you're underweight and you have an irrational fear of getting to a normalized weight, that's anorexia. But that's not fat phobia. Like I can be afraid of getting morbidly obese, but that's not irrational. It's realistic. So fat phobia doesn't actually exist. It's just a phrase that they use to try to stop us from saying shit, which I just fucking walk right through.
To tie into once again, not to get too political, but with the racism, sexism, that sort of culture that is prominent now to call if you see a white man, give them all those labels, don't associate with them.
Yeah, because normally it makes the person pause, and I just don't. Right? I mean, like you call me a racist because they were calling me a racist because I whatchamacallit, I fucking give me 1 second. I want to view this deleted message. Oh, somebody fucking a political thing. But I saw it because like I listen to Uncle Cracker. Like our mine and my wife's song is "Smile" by Uncle Cracker. It's like a sweet, super sappy love song that he wrote because his kid asked him to write a love song. I mean, the whole thing behind it is just adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a racist for that. And I also the band in my intro music, Jeff McCool from Moccasin Creek and a bunch of his other bands, they all support the Confederate flag. And while I don't support the Confederate flag because I'm not Southern, I know Jeff, and I know Jeff's not racist. He supports it as like a form of Southern pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people can argue about that, agree and disagree. But my point is, like, I have friends all across the political spectrum because I don't judge them by their beliefs. I judge them by their actions. I think that we need to do more of that in life. We need to judge people by their actual actions, how they treat people, not by what they wear, not by how they look, not by what they, how they talk, not by anything like that. It's by their actions towards other people. That's what makes a person to me, a good or bad person. If me sharing, facts, in your mind makes me a bad person, I'm okay with that. But I'm just trying to, like, my intent is to try to help people understand that shit's unhealthy.
And I think we should be able to share opinions without jumping straight to "you're a bad person." I think that's what's missing. Like I said earlier to you about a little bit of nuance and back and forth.
Yeah, like the fucked up thing is like when people start labeling people like racist and sexist and shit like that based off of their own belief. Like, I understand, like the Confederate flag thing. I actually get. I understand because it's rooted in a way. But like, I know the man. Like I know Jeff. He's a good friend of mine. Jeff is like like you would never think that if you met him because he's very all about like unity, and he's like, but I can believe what I can like this flag and still love that love that other people like their flag and other people like he's very much open-minded like I am, where I don't need to like that. I don't like some of the music he listens to either, but we're still fucking friends, I'm not that type of person where I need to believe everything. Like, I'd be in a room full of just me and Crystal. Like, I am a independent voting atheist with very conservative and progressive ideas who has almost no filter. Like, I'd have no associates at all.
I think that's like it's. I'll give you another example. Over the last couple of days, I think my best friend is a black guy, and they've gone and searched for him in particular. Gone his profile to send him a message to tell him why do you support, why are you friends with his races and stuff. Now, in my eyes, the fact that they would go looking for that, says
crazy.
More about them than me.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like, I mean, he's a friend of yours, and they're like going like.
To find that, like,
he's clearly a friend of yours, so you're clearly not racist. It's so fucking stupid,
And it's weird that it's. I think I said this in Fattopia, and I've said this before. That I think the attempt to use language of other groups that are discriminated against they're doing that on purpose. Obviously, there's a reason, because it sort of raises their profile. It gets more groups attached. If they say, look, we're fat, LGBT, bring more people in, we all need to support each other, which in my opinion is, I think it's a pretty bad thing to do.
It's disgusting. I mean, to compare the fat consequence, the people, so, I mean, because that's what it is. It's obese consequences. When you can't fit into an airplane seat, that's not thin privilege. It's an obese consequence. When you can't buy clothes in a certain store, which, by the way, my wife cannot buy clothes any fucking store, motherfuckers. Like, my wife is Crystal says she's 5'1". I'll let her say that, but my wife is about 5 feet tall, and I mean, and she's athletic built, and so she cannot find clothes any fucking place. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, anywhere. Like, in any fucking store, just about. It's ridiculous. Like, when we have to, like, God, we moved to Florida recently, and we went and bought all new bathing suits. It was a fucking nightmare. It was so bad. Like, I mean, so bad. But when people complain about, like, I can't do this because of my size, I can't do this because of my size, that's on you. Like, I cannot buy a suit off a rack ever. ever, ever, ever. I 30 years, 35 years of working out guaranteed that. I did that to me. I can't bitch. Like I think that's shit stupid. And when they say, well, it's discriminatory and I'm oppressed. I mean, I grew up in a time like I grew up in the 80s, like when I was a teenager, and people would think that that's like an evolved time, but all my friends were black or Hispanic. I had several white friends too, but most of my friends were of different color than me, right? And I remember trying to go into like I remember after one track meet, we went and celebrated or whatever. I think I broke some sort of school record or whatever. But so we went and celebrated, and we went to walk in this diner, and like the guy was like, "I don't serve people like them here." I mean, like, and this is the fucking 80s, man, in Pittsburgh. It's not like we were in the fucking deep South, but it's just how it was. Like, I've seen people go through real fucking discrimination and oppression. To say that because you've eaten yourself to an unhealthy state, you're all of a sudden oppressed, is a disgusting theft of the plight that they've fucking gone through, in my opinion. And that, I mean, people should be fucking ashamed of themselves for that shit. First of all, suck it the fuck up. Realize you put yourself in these positions. Do something about it. Like, the worst thing, like obese, obese, fat, whatever you want to call it, rude, like you can list off all the fucking negative connotations that anybody can ever call you. The worst thing you could possibly ever fucking be is a willing victim. If you get victimized by a crime or victimized by something like that by another person, that's one thing. But when you willingly victimize yourself, when you willingly say, no, that this stuff I've done to myself, and instead of doing something about it, I'm going to create myself into I'm going to just claim that it's unfair. That is willing victimhood, and that's the worst fucking thing you can do. It is the most unhealthy scenario because you never grow. You just expect everybody to cater, and you never grow. That's the worst thing people can do. And I think your movies have done a good job of pointing some shit like that out. The one interview, I'm so this has been on my mind. I've been meaning to because we were going to interview one time, and we just couldn't get it together. You're actually going to be on with all the Swole Avengers, and we couldn't get that together. The one lady that talks about like how she couldn't go bungee jumping. How hard was it for you to sit through that fucking interview? Because I was just
I didn't know what to do with that, to be honest. I thought she was going to have a bad response, but I had seen others also say the same thing. So that's why, if it was just her saying that, I might have not used it. But I've seen other people talk about, she said, bungee jumping, laser tag, those sort of activities like that. And I was like, I don't think this is going to go over well, but I've seen other people say it as well. So I think maybe that ideology needs to be shown and called out a little bit.
Yeah, I was so fucking amazed. Like I remember because I was doing my review video on that, and we're watching it, and like I turned to my wife. I was like, "Is she bitching about bungee jumping?" And Crystal's like, "Yep." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I've never been bungee jumping, so I maybe I'm missing out on something, but I can't imagine it being so amazing that it should be like a human right, where like no matter what size you are or anything like that, like I would be terrified. Like I'm still not a small guy. I'm still like between. I float between. I float between like 200 and 215, 220. I don't even fucking know. But I'd be fucking terrified on one of those motherfuckers. When I was 260, there's no fucking way you would tell me you would fucking push me off a bridge with a rubber band connected to my fucking feet. But to be like that big and want to go bungee jumping, I give them all the credit for wanting to do that. I don't know why we're hanging our hat on that shit, but I can just imagine, I can imagine not only just for the fucking bungee jump, not for the bungee, but to be pulled like that, in a what would be a contra gravitational pull, basically, because you're upside down, it's pulling you from the ankles. I can imagine that being pretty fucking bad for somebody that's morbidly obese. Like a lot of morbidly obese people have to forego having certain surgeries. My friend Amanda from the show Family by the Ton, one of the reasons why she needed to lose so much weight is she had endometrial cancer, and for her to have the surgery to remove the cancer, they have to tilt the person back, and they're like, if we have you under anesthesia and tilt you back like that, you're gonna die. That's how compromised they actually get. And
I don't know if we mentioned, because this is actually is about. Did we say this is this woman was talking about thin privilege and basically saying that you have thin privilege because I'm not able to do these things.
Right.
Which with thin privilege is another one. I think it's a word that's used, and I recognize with things like male privilege comes around a lot, and I think that's misused a lot of the time. But I think there's a difference between like me and my girlfriend. So maybe late at night, my girlfriend wouldn't feel comfortable walking around at dark or at night or something, whereas I would probably feel better, or she might ask me to come and meet her and walk with her. Right. You know, so I can see sort of bits like that where male privilege does exist, but once again, it's trying to take the language and use it. And with that example of bungee jumping, you're like, look at that example there compared to yours. It's
that's just. Does privilege exist? Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. But there's definitely a difference between privilege and consequence. You know, a privilege is something you're born with. You know, like I was born with my privilege, no doubt. Like I remember being the one. I remember being in that scenario I told you earlier. I remember being the one told that I could stay and eat if I wanted to. You know, and then when I said no, they called me a lover. On the way out, and that was fine by me too. You know, because these people so I'm still friends with some of them today. You know, like some of my lifelong friends. You know, so I can go without a meal for that shit, and I've always been that way. You know, but that's actually like so. I believe I do have white privilege. I really do because I've seen it. You know, I've seen it, and I still see it today a lot. Like in compare, like I will see people get followed around a store when I'm not being followed around a store, and I mean sometimes when I'm dressed up, I look like the guy that's coming like to collect the white envelope at the end of the fucking week. You know, like I can imagine my wife will be like, you don't look like you like. We have this one story where we lived out in the woods for a long time, right? And I don't think I've ever told this story on camera before. We lived out in the woods for a while before I started the channel. Like our closest neighbor was a quarter mile away. It was the park ranger, in South Carolina. I fucking loved it too. If I won the lottery, that's where I'd be. Right? I'd have a beach home and I'd have a home way out in the fucking middle of no fucking place because I love it. Well, our one dog got out and he's in the woods because we lived in the fucking woods. So it's pouring down rain. I just got done working out, so I'm in like a cutoff camo shirt, jeans, and boots on. And I'm trying to get through the woods to try to find the dog. So I've got a machete in my hand, right? And I'm fucking hacking through shit. Bald, fucking. I had like a 4-day scruff. So I end up coming out onto the street, and she's driving up and down the road, like looking for the dog too. And she pulls over and she goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm looking for the dog." She was like, "Have you fucking seen yourself?" Because at the time I'm like 250, right? So 250 fucking muscle head with a machete in his hand, cut off sleeve, just walking down the middle of the fucking road. She was like, "You are going to get arrested, get in the fucking car." And the dog came out of the woods and shit like that. But so, I mean, like how I stereotypically look sometimes, I can imagine people like wondering why I'm in their fucking store, what the fuck I'm doing, right? But it doesn't happen. So I believe, I believe that there is such a thing as privilege. I just don't believe that it can be something that is a matter of like you're thin or like that. I see people of all body types get made fun of. I see people with all body types get get fucking discriminated against. I mean, I see women who are muscular get made fun of more than any fucking person ever. Like they can't win. They're either too masculine. They're on steroids, like all that shit. Like I see they women, like muscular women that work out a lot, get made fun of and discriminated against incredibly. They can't buy clothes. They're too manly. They're too this. I mean, it's fucking sickening.
It's like as well the thin thing. I know at school, anybody who's been thin at school will know. You get that hole around your arm all the time to show you how small your wrists are. So it exists. It's not because of some sort of are those people thin phobic? No, they're just probably just dicks. And at school, which is probably where a lot of these stems from, because school can be hard. But it's not. I don't think there's like this systematic thing where society is against you. I think there's just a lot of arseholes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And I think that's where it, for your second film, that's where it came about. Like, I think that it was just people wanting to be, fucking, brutal to people. They found a way that they may somewhat believe, but anybody can watch your film and know that those people somehow, even if they started with any type of good intention to shut up the big mean bald man or shut you up or anything like that, they definitely lost their fucking way. To reach out, like to be spamming your grandma is fucking, that's unreal. Like, I mean, that's unreal. Like, that would be like you reaching out to her family members and being like, do you know how, do you know how bad it is for her to be fat?
And imagine if something like that was said, the sort of the outcry would be, it's and that's why I try still to understand. I mean, I don't want to paint the whole fat acceptance movement with one.
Oh, it's not that. I mean, I agree with you. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't want anybody to think that I paint the whole fact. I think the fat acceptance community has lots of issues that they need to work their way through. Acceptance, I'm totally on board with. I really believe that people should okay, I accept that you're obese. I accept you as a person. Love you. I love for my fellow person, right? But part of that is like, while I accept you for being who you are, here's the health things that you should take care of, and that's because I respect you as a person. I respect you as a person enough to not fucking lie to you. So I believe that these people are not fat acceptance.
Because it's because like I know fat people get shit. Like I'm not denying that fat people do get shit. There's jokes, there's everything, and I do understand that. And people should be more accepting. But what I think the problem with the movement is now become it's like I said, it's not everyone, but there are. The people higher up, like Son Ali, or people low down, or I know Manal, who was featured in the film, she was in Facebook groups where they're censoring the O word. They're saying, and when they're starting to begin to say and promote health, you can be morbidly obese and healthy. That's when I kind of go, someone has to step in and sort of try to counteract that. And especially, I've seen more of a move since Fattopia. It seems to be like they live on Instagram. I think that's where the majority of the community is. But their videos never seem to do very well here on YouTube.
Right.
But there seems to be more of a movement to target kids as well, which I think it's scary. I've seen a few things, fat kids are not unhealthy. They're just kids and this sort of stuff.
No, they're unhealthy. It's horrible for them. Like I've seen the one where no child should be put on a diet ever. That's very fucking. What do you mean ever? Well, child, like, you shouldn't restrict what your child eats. My child ate what the fuck I told him to eat. Very realistically, like, restrict, like, you eat what's on your plate. This is the era I grew up in. You eat what's on your plate. If you don't want to eat that, too fucking bad. You're eating what's on your plate. To act like the child should be able to be like, I want more, we're taking the responsibility of parenting away at that point in time, and that's fucking ridiculous, because there's no more serious responsibility than being a parent. None,
and it's weird that it's sort of becoming it's demonized to say that kids, if you even discuss the idea of kids and weight and maybe putting them on a diet, that's seen as really bad thinking. You're not in a good place there. But the idea of feeding them and just letting them eat whatever they want and stuff, that's beginning to sort of be celebrated within, once again, not the whole movement, but in the sort of some of the pockets, which I think is the problem. That I express this in the film as well, that they won't say anything against each other. So this sort of behavior, I don't think they can correct it and fix it, because the amount of infighting, I've seen people that have had weight loss surgery in the fat acceptance community that have lost weight and stuff, and they are gone. They're taken out. They are, they're just, pardon the pun, but they eat their own. It's
Man, let me tell you something. The hate and vile that some of my friends got for getting gastric bypass surgery to save their lives. For real, my friend Amanda be dead Like she was 700 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
700 pounds, could barely move. She was one slip and fall away. Lived alone, one slip and fall away from death. Period. Or just like one day not being able to get up. Like for real, not being able to get up, or throwing a myocardial infarction, a stroke, a DVT. I mean, so many fucking things can happen when you're morbidly obese. When you're 700 pounds, they don't even have machinery big enough to scan you. And I know people are like, "That's fat phobic." No, that's just reality. Like, because human beings aren't meant to be 700 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
Human beings, unless they're extremely, extremely tall, like genetic anomalies, 250 pounds is fucking an enormous human being. Like it really, really is.
And with something like that, it's like, well, we should have these bigger seats. We should have these machines that can do this. And I think the word glorifies gets thrown around a little bit too much. I think it's normalization that is the scary part. When going back to Tess Holliday on a cover, does that glorify? I don't know. I think maybe most people will think, well, that's not great. But what point? How many years do we let it pass until it's just, hey, this is normal now?
Well, that's part of. That's part of. Tess Holliday can be a member of Fat Acceptance, but she can't actually be body positive.
Mm-hmm.
But because there is an absolute difference. If they were all body positive people, there would be just as much outcry for representation of uber thin anorexia, models with anorexia. Because I don't want to say anorexic looking, because people can be anorexic and not be uber thin. Totally. But it is one of the telltale signs, according to the actual diagnosis, is being very thin. Just so you motherfuckers understand, when people say they look anorexic and they get all shitty, well, you can't look anorexic. Actually, it's actually a part of the true medical definition of it. But they would be arguing for them too, but they're not. I mean, like body positivity should be arguing for all body types.
And that's the thing we don't see. Where is the magazine cover with the burn victim, the acid burn victim, the people with vitiligo, amputees? If someone was like that on the cover, like the Tess Holliday cover, there would be the idea that we're anti-body positivity or anything like that is not the case. I would be celebrating that. I think it would be a great thing to see people like that accepted. I think those are the people that need help, because if they're walking down the street, I'm sure they're getting far more concerning and strange looks and all this sort of stuff. I don't. We see fat people all the time anyway.
Yeah, the thing about it is, the thing about stuff like that is, then they attach themselves to that too. Like and they call themselves marginalized. So then they're all able to fit in that group, marginalized, right? But there's a big difference between somebody who had to make the decision to have their own leg cut off or have cancer kill them, or they, got their arm blown off while serving in the military, and somebody that has eaten themselves to 600 pounds. And I'm sorry that may upset some people, but that's true. Okay, these people, and I had somebody that kind of flew all over me, because I'm big in supporting vets, where they said, well, the person made the choice to go defend, to go be in the military. Yes, they did, but however, they, when somebody loses a limb in service of their country or their life or something like that, or is blown up and has scars, to equate it to eating too many Big Macs really is disgusting. You people have no fucking moral, like, and that's the thing. Like, I get stuck with this. Like, I feel like they're the ones judging me, like saying I'm horrible. These people have no fucking moral bottom. I know that's not popular, but they have no moral bottom. Like, when you will try to take over or try to attach yourself to shit like that, that's disgusting. Okay, when somebody, like, equating your pain, the pain you go through, to the phantom pain of that somebody has to go through of having their leg blown off or cut off, or they're in an accident and they, something like that, like, equating your pain is so fucking different. Like
I said, someone like if they were in an acid attack, I know that was real prominent over here, and that you imagine like how much of that would change your life and everything, So I often wonder what those people with, I think, the people that we should really be looking at with body positivity, what they think about, because I think it has been hijacked. I know Raven, one of the contributors, mentioned that in the film. I think it has been hijacked. So I do wonder what they think about everything, that sort of the way this is going.
It would be interesting because I feel that it's the whole movement is insane. I mean, it really is. Like, now, I did want to talk to someone real quick, because I'm sure you've had people try to correct you on the difference between health at every size and healthy at every size, right? Have you had that? Where health at every size is a movement where no matter what size you are, you should have healthy endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
I actually can completely co-sign that, because my thing is, if you're 400 pounds and you try to have healthy endeavors, like you only eat produce and lean meats, and you move your body, guess what? You're not going to be morbidly obese long. Like, it's just not. But healthy at every size is when these fucking whack nuts, fucking crazy people say that you can be 600 pounds and healthy, because that's completely devoid of fucking reality.
Yeah, that was thrown, the health at every size. Is it Linda Bacon? That was thrown around a lot around the Fattopia time.
They use her the study that she wrote, like the paper that she wrote, as their foundation for everything.
Like a Bible, yeah.
Yeah, but just so you folks understand, that's not how the scientific process works. Like, you can't take a study of 10 people, like all your friends.
And it's all females, right?
All female. Like, you can't take that type of study and then use it as a loose amalgamation to come to, like, your thing. Like, it wasn't actually a study. It was just kind of like an article.
And carry on, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and what the difference is as well, these the health at every size and healthy at every size, we need to be clear, is that I think even people that sign up to the ideology, the movement, I think sometimes they don't even know the difference what they're signing up.
Oh, yeah, they don't. I guarantee it. I've gotten people just fucking screaming and yelling at me for, like, and they have no idea. Like, they have no idea. Like, they have not watched a fucking video of mine. Like, you're a horrible person. You hate fat people. You're a racist. I'm a sexist because that was a favorite one. I'm a sexist because I only go after women. I am sure there is a lot of fitness professionals, male fitness professionals, that would definitely disagree. I was told for a while I was racist because I only go after black men and women.
I've seen that from the grandmas.
Are you fucking kidding me? I think both Vince's and Scott Herman and Scott fucking the fucking asshole from Biggest Loser. His last name's not important enough for me to fucking remember sometimes. Cook, I think. He's not one of my peers. So he's not one of my peers, and I don't fucking give a fuck about remembering his name. But if I am equal opportunity pointing out stupid, like, if anything, if anybody has watched my older work when I was just doing kind of like roasting comedy, I take it very, 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 very easy on people from the fat acceptance community. The reason being is I know most of them do have some sort of depression issue and stuff like that. So I really do try to just state the actual facts and urge people to get help and urge people to love themselves enough to be healthy. I say that in almost every fucking video, to the point where many people be like, you are saying the same shit. But yes, but I think it's very important that a morbidly obese person who has an issue with food, who has binge eating disorder, something like that, it is important that they understand that they need to get healthy, that they need to treat themselves more. The true love of themselves is to take care of themselves. So I do treat it with some kid gloves compared to other dumbass motherfuckers who I literally just like. I mean, I go hog ass. Well, I never have an instance like this, but like, I've watched my old footage, like the raw footage of some of my roast videos on people like Vince, and there's some stuff about Gymshark guy, Steve Cook. I swear that's just fucking in my head. There's some video footage about him that I was like, oh, I can't put that on fucking YouTube.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, I'll get in trouble, and. I find it amazing. Like, I'm sexist because I only make videos about women. First of all, completely untrue. Like, I mean, like, you're just openly lying now. And then it was the, only about black men. Completely untrue. You're just openly lying. That's but the whole Lizzo thing.
I think I responded to that once. I did the podcast because the grandmas kept saying, again, air quote, we don't know how many there is, probably about 2. They kept bringing up, and I know this is something they kept pushing with you, was the sexist thing. Yeah. But the easy way to counteract that is to say this is a movement mostly dominated by women. This is a women-led movement.
For the record, just be real. My boss, both professionally and personally, is a woman. Let's just be real. And I joke about that fairly often. But Crystal, like I said, Crystal does run our business. Like, she is the CEO of our businesses. She decides, like, she's literally my boss. But it's important that even though we're a married couple, and even though the businesses are ours and we own them 50-50, it's very important that people that, like, a designated who's in charge was set. And it very fucking clearly shouldn't be me, just because I'm more of the wake up in the middle of the night, write down notes type person. She's more of the here's our schedule, we're gonna get this shit done type person, And very realistically, anybody that's ever met us in person also knows that when my wife says something, I'm all fucking ears. And I have no problem. I had somebody tell me once, "Well, you're pussy whipped." Yes. 100%. And I love it. She is like, she's my person. So therefore, why wouldn't I just cater to every fucking thing she says,
And the whole sexism thing is the same with me. Is like the most important people in my life, all women, my mum, my girlfriend, my nan, these are some of the most important people in my life. And it's the sexism thing.
It was just a label. But my thing is, like, people can label me all they want. I'll just keep walking through that shit, because all that does is, when they say shit like that, eventually what happens is, don't watch him. He's a sexist. He's a this, because they do the whole block and block and spam and block thing, right? What happens is, eventually they watch something, and there have been many, many, many times where it's like, I first started watching you because I hated you because of this. Thank you so much. I'm down 60 pounds. I feel better, blah, 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 blah. I get emails like that every day. So, that's why, I'm very fucking actualized that people are just going to dislike me. I'm okay with that. I don't fucking, as long as my wife thinks I'm fucking nice and sexy and fucking shit like that, I don't care. As long as she likes how I look and likes how I talk and likes how I act and likes how I treat people, and she's good on how I fucking conduct myself, I'm totally straight. All this shit could disappear right fucking now. And as long as her and I can pay the bills, I'm good. I don't buy into the whole social media fame bullshit. We just keep our head grinding. It's time to write 2 more books. It's time to write, this and that. It's time to, like, do the, expand our coaching to make sure we have, this ABCD, it's time for all that shit, but people don't like me. That's fine. But I hope that, like, what it does is they motivate people to actually find out how bad I am. And then it actually helps those people. So I'm straight,
I think part of the issue is it's just because of the times we live in. We go off headlines, we go off thumbnails, we go off titles, and unfortunately, a part of the system of doing this is that you have to be a little bit what's the word? Provocative. That's it. When you're making these titles and stuff, in order to get out there. But once you actually listen and look at the content beyond just the initial shock, it becomes easier. It's the same with Fattopia. There was a lot of things like he's on the cover, on the poster with a fat suit and everything. And then once you actually go into it, I think same with you or anybody who gets this sort of.
I thought Fattopia was very well done. I think you gave everybody the opportunity to speak if they wanted to speak. I thought your offer to have mutual ground afterwards was fucking amazing. I think that my debate with the doctor kind of scared some people away. Because it's the same shit. Like, just so people know, like, we didn't plan any of that shit out, but, like, obviously Conor reached out to people and was talking to them. I'm sure he had conversations with the doctor that I wasn't privy to, but my conversation with him kind of went like, I'll debate anybody that's willing to show their face. If you're willing to show your face and have your actual name attached, I'll debate anybody. I don't care if they have a PhD. I don't care if they're a doctor. I don't care what the fuck it is, because once we get past well, I don't think people should be shamed for being fat, and I agree. It's just facts from there, and that's actually what happened. I mean, what happened was, I think he came on and thought I was going to be screaming and yelling and fat people are disgusting and blah, 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 blah. When I was actually like, yeah, you're right. People shouldn't make fun of fat people because of that, but let's get them healthy. Let's talk about facts about, this. And he's just kind of like, I mean, okay.
Yeah, where do I go from there? I haven't got anything to pull him up. It's
because I know my stances and the stances of people like me, like even Swole, even though the nuts on chin thing drives me crazy. Swole, what's up, motherfucker? But like people like me that have the same kind of message I do. I don't want anybody to fucking feel bad. That's I mean I want you to live and live a happy life and not have people fucking my point behind all of this is making sure like people are healthy. How can if you can find fault in that shit? I mean,
that's what throws around now, isn't it? As well, I don't know if you've heard the concern trolling as a term. That's
there's no such. I'm sorry, but that's not really a fucking thing. Concern trolling. That's just concern commenting. And if you're going to put an opinion out on fucking social media, people have a right to fucking respond. If you put an opinion out on a public platform and then you all of a sudden don't like the fucking the shit you fucking get back from it, don't fucking put it out there.
But saying that, if there's a woman who's completely not fat acceptance, not posting anything to do with that, who just is out there posting pictures, and someone goes over and says, "Look, you're you're a fat land whale, and you need to lose weight, otherwise you're going to die." I don't think that's probably the most helpful way to engage with that person.
Absolutely not. But the whole whale thing and blah 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 is not. But letting like, hey, if she's posting transformation photos or something like that, or if anything like, hey, you seem like an awesome person. Have you thought about trying to lead a healthier lifestyle? And then they take offense to that, like, well, you're saying I'm not healthy. I am absolutely saying you're not healthy. Like that's where the fucking issue lies. Is that they want to change the reality of health. You cannot be 400 pounds and healthy. You can't.
That's where their argument falls apart, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where it can't go any further because of the health. If they can get over the health hurdle and say we can be healthy and morbidly obese, and that becomes accepted, then they've won. I know before, I can't remember, it was around the same time that you described it as almost like a war scenario, and I think that is their key to winning, if they can get that over to the public, to the mainstream.
Well, there was a war on facts for a while. There absolutely was. That's one of the reasons why when you announced it was a doctor that was going to debate me, I was like, fuck yeah, motherfucker, that's perfect. Because my entire goal, that entire fucking conversation was to get him to admit that there was a weight that is unhealthy. Like at some point in time, there is a weight where he, as a doctor, would prescribe weight loss. That was the only fucking goal I set out. I mean, there was a lot of sub goals that I also checked off. I don't know if you saw me, but I was checking shit off as we were talking. And I think he did a great job, and I think he's a great guy. We just have different opinions, I think his heart's in the right place. I really, really do. But as a doctor, I wanted to get him to say that he agreed with the research about the UK cancer study that obese people are more likely to get 13 different types of cancer than even somebody that smoked. I wanted him to agree with the science of that, and he absolutely did, because it's science, and he's a doctor, and it's just fucking science. But I also wanted him to admit that there was a weight loss would be the actual prescription, and he did that too. I was completely happy.
I mean, that's the thing. I know we spoke about this briefly, but he I don't think he was necessarily. I mean, he was a good person to have on, but he wasn't the fat activist that is sort of leading and inspiring the movement in one way. Someone like, is it Sophie Hagen?
Oh, I'd love to talk to her.
I mean, imagine her. She was the one that went after Cancer Research UK for saying those campaigns were, offensive, fatphobic, and all this sort of stuff. So,
do I think they could have done a better job with the campaigns of getting the message across in a way that might disseminate more to the people that it was directed towards versus the people that just like if that needed to resonate in some way with actual obese people You know, like, and I don't think it was done where it would actually resonate with obese people.
I wasn't. I know a lot of people have been critical with it. I wasn't as critical. I've seen a lot of people that didn't know that smoking is the second biggest preventable cause of cancer after smoking.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a little bit why people were upset, but I also think that he needed something. Needed to put something out there that
in today's political climate, especially in your country at the time, there was no fucking way that was going to go over well.
Oh no,
there was no fucking way. You guys are all fucked up about Brexit and shit like that too, and you're all stressed out to begin with. So there was no fucking way that people.
But then again, would there ever been a perfect campaign that wouldn't have offended anyone?
No, absolutely. Oh no, you're gonna. I mean, well, it's anything. Like, I mean, we can offend people in any fucking way, you know, like, I mean, but just by saying anything online. That's why when people are like, don't use these hashtags, don't do this, you using these hashtags is hurting. I get that all the time. Like, you're hurting fat people by using these hashtags. No, I'm actually trying to like get there. Like, I want people from the fat acceptance community to see this post to either incite conversation or to, you know, and I get this all. I mean, I really do. I would never share the emails, but I get emails and messages and shit like that all the fucking time of people like, you know, I hated you when I first saw you. I listened, and then, you know, I tried one thing that you said, and it worked. It helped me. I felt better, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and now I've lost X amount of weight, or now I've gained X amount of weight because I was anorexic, like stuff like that. So, you know, of course, I'm putting those hashtags to get the attention of fat acceptance community. Mm-hmm. Like, the problem is they just want to be left. They want to be left completely alone when it's somebody like me, but they want to be able to impress themselves, and everybody should, you know, listen to their message when they, you know, when it's other people. But since they, like, people like me, they know I'm not going to shut the fuck up. They know they can't shame me, like false shame me. They can't shame me into thinking that I'm a racist or a sexist. Like, I know I'm not. So, like, I literally just go. And my point by that, by the way, also is, even if I fucking was, it doesn't change gravity.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't, you know? So I think for people like me and for like you, it's like this thing, like, don't use our hashtags, don't do this, don't do that. But if I've seen these people go on other people's hashtags about transformations, and they mass report transformation photos and shit like that, like, first of all, how is this, like, this person trying to do better for themselves, trying to be healthier, how is that negatively affecting you at all? I mean, Instagram's actually chosen to support that shit, which I find fucking crazy.
I don't get the direction with that, with like social media companies.
People are like, I actually recently had some dumb motherfuckers say that, you know, I only have 18,000 followers, so therefore I never have an impact. Talk about my Instagram. Instagram is how you doing, Steve? What's up? But Instagram, you know, I don't. It's, to me, it's like a toy, kind of like, it's like fun, you know, like I view it as important for business, but at the same time, I do it to get my point across, incite people and everything like that. Like, there's very little, like, if you look at the analytics, my YouTube audience and my Instagram audience have very little crossover. It's a lot less than what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't worry that much about that shit. I don't use Instagram as like a marketing tool or anything like that for businesses. Although it does sometimes generate revenue and stuff like that. I don't like look at it that way. I look at it like, at any given time I can wake up and this Instagram account's gonna be gone too. And I fully knew my old Instagram account was gonna get deleted. I fully fucking knew it. Like, I mean, I even think I messaged you like, hey, here's my second Instagram just in case, because I have a strong feeling that they're gonna mass flag report whatever shit, you know. I knew it, you know, because that's all they have, you know. It's sad, but at the same time, it is what it is, you know.
I know a couple of you guys did the video about I forget the woman who was posted on the Instagram's official account.
Lashana,
mm-hmm.
when she went on her fucking little Twitter tirade about me. That was fucking awesome. I didn't do a video about it because other people did, and I had already, I think, spoken enough with my thoughts.
There was another video. They actually did a campaign video for someone that was featured. Who I won't say her name because there was a whole situation there. But she was featured in one of their videos, And I mean, she is one of the radical ones. Like, this was a paid Instagram promo shoot, and they put this forward. Yeah, and she is. It's just, and the stuff she was saying in the video was very nice and stuff, but the stuff that I've seen outside of that is pretty. She can be pretty vulgar, so that's why I've seen more. And I looked even at something like the anorexic hashtag. They give you a warning about it. Are you feeling okay? And all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing the same, because the fat community would bombard them for doing something like that.
I'm waiting for that, like, for Every Damn Day Fitness to be like, have that warning on it, like shit like that. But I view that stuff as like a badge of honor. Like, I mean, like at some point in time, I had somebody be like, "Hey, you're probably gonna get a cease and desist from the USA Network about the Biggest Loser thing." I was like, "Oh my god, I'd fucking celebrate." Like, I mean, I really would, because I mean, I'd gladly go to fucking court to support I'm stating that they have dangerous methods. Therefore, if they would actually take me to court, they'd have to defend those methods, and I know they can't. So I'd gladly be your Huckleberry in court against the fucking USA Network.
What would they take you to court for? Just using the content, or?
Well, I'm trying really hard not to use their content as much. I'm definitely making sure it falls under fair use rules. Which
fair use is completely out the window for a lot of these things.
Yeah, they don't understand that concept. We'll talk about that in a second. But oftentimes I just kind of describe it and use still shots. Like in this last video, I described it, and I think I used 1 or 2 still shots. Maybe I didn't even use the still shots. I don't know. But because I'm a pretty good storyteller, But I'm waiting for them to say that I'm trying to defame and hurt their business.
Got you. Right. Yeah.
Because my point is their business is hurtful, and as a fitness professional, I have every right to criticize and critique their work when it's on a public platform and forum. And that's what fair use is. As long as I use their material in a way to either parody, discuss, or critique, it's fair use. As long as you don't use the whole entirety thing of it, you have to use. There's a lot of technical things, like only so many things. That was their biggest. I think that was the grandma's thing. That was the biggest problem with my Instagram account, is that, like, I will take, like, if somebody posts something online and I want to discuss it, I will repost it, as Instagram has plenty of fucking tools in place for you to do so. I will repost it and then, like, want to discuss, and that's what they used against it. They used that as, like, I was copyright, I was infringing upon their copyrights and shit like that, blah blah blah. And I found it just so egregious. Like, I can tell you this, that like, Instagram did not give a fuck about it at all. I sent them the video of her trying to, like, get people to mass flag my account. I said, this is, falls under fair use rules. I sent them the areas that it falls under fair use, blah blah blah. I sent them the whole fucking thing, and they deliberated for like 30 minutes. And fucking, they're like, nope, you're gone. Yeah. So it was like literally like 30 minutes. I got the email back to, like, nope, you're gone.
Yeah, it's all this mass reporting as well is meant to be against the terms of service as well, and so many times that this happens.
I mean, they're supposed to not show dangerous activities either, but watching a 400-pound person smash 5 cheeseburgers is dangerous activity, in my opinion. Like, mukbangs should not be on YouTube either. What's up, YouTube?
And there's, I don't know, do you know much about the InfiniFat hashtag or anything like that?
The InfiniFat hashtag I've done a video about before. First of all, I can't imagine, like, if somebody called one of my morbidly obese clients InfiniFat, I would take very fucking serious issue to that. I really, really would. I find that term extreme. Like, I find that term offensive. Obese and morbidly obese and even super morbidly obese are medical terminology. It's like, doctors use those shit. Like, they've been used for decades. InfiniFat sounds like you're infinitely fat. That sounds hopeless as fuck to me. It does. It sounds hopeless. You're infinitely fat. That's
I think
so.
I guess from their perspective, is fat's a good thing. Infinite fat is almost like
Yeah,
it's nothing better.
and they're discriminating against their like you're a small fat. You don't know the plight of my
And yeah, they've got their own privileges within it now.
It's so fucking crazy. Like, talk about first world fucking problems.
Did you watch a guy? A guy this week did a video, and I can't remember it. He did a video about cults, and he talks about it in reference to the fat acceptance movement.
I did not see it, but I'd love to see it. They are a cult.
I'll send it. It's really good. And he said the only thing I think they're basically missing, and I didn't watch the whole video. I need to finish it.
A guru
is a leader.
Yeah, guru.
Yeah, someone because I thought Tess Holiday might have got that, but I think she's just interested in the money, the mainstream. I don't really think she cares about.
She absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I saw her doing workout videos, I called it. I was like, she's doing this to make money. There's a payoff somewhere in here. You know.
Yeah. They need someone. I thought maybe Sona Lee at a time, but she sort of gets a bit.
Oh, Sona Lee's crazy. Like they don't like. Many of them don't like her either, just because she has got like. First of all, I don't know how somebody can be a friend of the LGBTY community or LGBTY. You know what I mean? Like I have ADHD, motherfuckers. It's hard for me to pronounce shit like that for a quick sometimes. But I think that to be an ally of them, you cannot watch her. She believes that you can be trained who you should be attracted to, right? Like if you're not attracted to fat people, you should watch porn with fat people. You should watch this with fat people, and then you'll be attracted to fat people, right? That sounds very much like gay conversion therapy, and like very fucking much like it. And that's also disgusting shit. Why do you give a fuck where people are putting their penises and shit? Like I don't like to me that's when people have a problem with people's sexuality. I'm just like, what are they actively trying to fuck you against your will? If so, then you might have a fucking then not might, but then do something about it. Yeah. But what they do means nothing to me. I don't understand. Like people like that, I just fucking don't get. I don't understand. Like how does that negatively affect you? But for her to say something like that, I was just like, that's when I knew. I was like, wow, she's full. I thought she said the shit with the kids can't consent to diets the same way they can't consent to sex. I thought that was kind of for shock value, maybe. I thought that one was, but the fucking conversion therapy shit, I was just like, wow, she's a horrible.
Do you think she is legit? Do you think she believes these things, or is it?
When you look at her, when you look at her and see her physical state, I think she is in a form of like serious denial about her own problems. Like she's very unhealthy, to the point where Michelle did a video showing that she had some skin fold issues going on, which is super. Like to any morbidly obese person out there, please take care of your skin folds. That is a quick way to death if you get an infection in between your skin folds. Like very fucking quick way to death. It is so easy to get like things like staph infection or necrotizing fasciitis is fucking. It is like that is a fucking nightmare of a disease that like can really, really, really kill people. And it's like it's basically your flesh starts dissolving. Just so I mean, like it's horrific. I believe we saw some video with her having that. I think she's just in full fucking blown denial. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why she's like that. I think that her belief system in her brain tries to find any fucking way to justify herself. She openly admits like she's like I'm disabled. It's okay to be disabled because of your obesity. No, it's not. It's not okay. Like especially in a country where if you are disabled, like other people, like other tax dollars go towards helping take care of you. Because that's America. That's in Britain too. Like if you're disabled, like there's a welfare system, right? So to knowingly and without even trying to stop it, disable yourself from becoming morbidly obese, that's not okay. That's where it becomes a societal issue that I believe we live in a society, as long as we have shared cost of some kind, that we owe it to each other to be as healthy as possible. And literally spent I would much rather not go to the doctor and know that those funds went towards somebody that's actually disabled, somebody maybe like somebody that has a mental illness that's going untreated. I would rather my treatment go to like I would rather make sure that my portion of what I pay into our medical system goes towards that person versus me. Because in my mind, I'm a physically able-bodied person that has enough knowledge to take care of themselves, and to make myself sick by just engorging myself and gluttoning myself to the point where I'm disabled is truly one of the more selfish fucking things a person can do when other people have to share the costs.
And the fact that you should find it liberating to do that as well. It's sort of
it's
trying
disgusting.
to push that to people. That's again why I sort of the cult thing is an interesting. Once again, not probably the whole movement, but there are definitely pockets where this is creeping up.
That's why, I mean, I think that's another reason, like oftentimes I avoid talking about politics, but I think that's why I'm an independent voter too, because I really believe, like, I don't vote politicians or political sides. I vote kind of like issues. I wish that we could vote just on the issues. It would reduce the overhead of the government tremendously. We wouldn't need nearly as many of our ruling class, and in America that's called Congress, because they are our ruling class of people. They're a class of people that for a lot of times pass down their power to the next generation of their family or friends or social circle. It's a class of basically, very, 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 very rich people deciding what they're going to do with our money. So I mean, that's how I view that. But I really think that
which you mentioned sort of that, which is weird. That I know I've got it. I don't know if I know Sona Lee called fitness trainers Nazi, but there is always the Nazi, the alt-right, stuff like that. When it's like you really have no idea about.
That's
why are we bringing
first of all,
health and obesity into politics
to in any way diminish what that term actually means is super fucking disgusting, ignorant, like so radically disrespectful to the memories and lives, like so fucking it's sick. I mean, it really is. It's like when people equate political figures to Hitler. Like, fuck all of you. You're disgusting human beings to get there. But like what I was saying before, because that's very easy for me to get sidetracked. But I don't understand how most of the people in the fat acceptance community identify themselves as liberal and want to have like they very very much want a national healthcare system, but like for a national healthcare system to work, the entirety, like if it's going to be a social thing, if it's going to be for all of us grouped together and we all share the costs, it is only fair that everybody does their very, very best to keep those costs as minimal as possible.
Which is why the whole obesity thing here is a little bit more. We all get an opinion on it.
Yeah. I'm in your country at some point in time. This is no shit. The government's going to step in and be like, if you can't get yourself healthy, you're going to get less care.
Yeah.
Like if you, I mean, I personally think that I should not have to pay the same in health insurance rates as somebody else who doesn't take care of themselves. I am on 0 medications. Like my lunch today was like a salad and I had some egg whites, and I do make sure that I enjoy food. Like I reward myself for being good all week and stuff like that. But I don't eat like an asshole. I've been eating fast food and for fucking ever,
and that's important as well to say about like enjoying food, and no one's saying that if you're going to a different country and want to try the cuisine and stuff, no one's trying to make that argument,
right? I mean, fast food's where fast food goes in the world, the country dies. The country starts dying. That's what happened. That's what happened to you guys. Were behind us, and we had a lot of fast food places, and then fast food really started getting big in like your last 20 or 30 years in Britain. And look where you're fucking
we seem to very much mirror each other in a lot of ways. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the standard American diet is what kills people. I mean, the cool, like I'm sure you're pretty well traveled around Europe because where you're. I mean, it's much easier to get around Europe, right?
Yeah.
From where you're at. The portion size. Have you been to America too?
I have. Yeah.
What did you think of the difference in portion sizes between, say, France and America?
Even to be fair, even from America to Britain is a lot different.
Substantial.
Yeah,
our portion sizes are out fucking outrageous here. They really are. Like if you've ever traveled anywhere, like you sit down at a place in France, and I haven't been to France in like a long time, but I remember sitting down thinking like, this is my meal? Like what
Yeah.
this is like, it was like 4 pieces of lettuce and like a little piece of fish. And
Yeah.
like, it's just what it is. But then we introduce, um, shit like fucking, shit like McDonald's to that. And like all of a sudden these portion sizes are huge and the food is cheap and it's fucking highly palatable and it's, salty and shit like that. Like, and next thing you know, the country has fucking issues. And
Do you recognize that it's an obesity epidemic, or because I know
yeah,
a lot of them
absolutely.
you do, yeah?
It's getting to be a pandemic.
Uh-huh.
It really is. When every 7.5 seconds, a person dies from obesity in the world. 4 million people will die this year from obesity. And everybody's like, well, there's 7 billion people in the world. The motherfuckers, it's from obesity.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is such an avoidable thing. Like it really is. It's such an avoidable thing.
And I mean, even the World Health Organization has listed it on some of the top things to we need to be worried about for the next 10 years and stuff like that. And they say, I know I quoted that a lot of times, and they were like, the World Health Organization lies. They're fat photo.
It's the science.
Mm-hmm.
The science is shaming them.
What you mentioned about the fast foods and everything. Do you put a lot of responsibility on that sort of stuff?
No, there's personal responsibility.
Uh-huh.
I do think if we were smart, we would put legislature in place where they at least had to tell you how many calories you're ordering, like because the calories are up on the board, like so people can see. Well, a McDouble is 500 and some calories or something like that, right? But rarely do they see what goes into the actual bag. Like, there's a video that I'm probably gonna do a video on this young lady's video where she's saying we need to see more fat people eating for pleasure, and she's like mukbanging and smashing this fucking. It's like a 32-ounce full leaded Coke, an extra large fry,
which doesn't exist here. Those drinks
really?
that you get, they do not exist.
Oh, it's 32-ounce soda, by the way, just for you motherfuckers. A 32-ounce soda has got something like 130 grams of sugar in it or something like that. Like 4 times more than what you should take in a day. But but it shows her with it's the extra large fry, a Big Mac, and then like a bunch of chicken tenders. And she's sitting there eating you fat people should be able to do this. Like the almost like arrogance of it is so kind of, it's just gross and sad and everything like that, because like here you are, like this is basically me watching you hurt yourself. I mean, saying that we should see more fat people eating for pleasure, while consuming what she probably doesn't understand is somewhere in the upwards of 2,500 calories at a sitting, more than she should be taking in all day for her size and her size and age and gender and trying to be healthy. She should probably be taking in somewhere around 1,800 calories and getting some activity and fucking calling it a day. But I find that like grotesque.
It's like self-harm.
It is self-harm.
Yeah.
Watching a morbidly obese person eat copious amounts of food, especially when they're saying, I'm eating this just for pleasure. Like here's food, like food for pleasure. I get. I love food. I love food too much. I totally understand that. But when it gets to the point where people act like food, like you need to eat because you need sustenance, because we're an engine and you need to fuel it, but oftentimes people can take that where they, they take it to a self-harming like area and they roll into it. Like I'm good, I love food, so therefore I'm gonna do what makes me happy. You're not gonna be happy when your feet are getting cut off. You're not like when you are 35 years old and I'm going to speak to the camera because I know there's a lot of you out there that are probably pissed at me right now watching this, because I mean the comments all look good, but I'm sure there's some people watching that are just upset. When you have trouble bending down tying your shoes, you are no longer healthy. Accept it. Okay. Even like everybody's like, well, what about the person that has a bad back from an injury? They have an injury. They're not healthy. It's not meant to shame them. It is a very fucking serious reality. When you are big enough where you are impeding upon your mobility is longevity. how much you can bench press, how much you can squat, how much you can deadlift, how much all that shit you have is not actually longevity. Longevity is how long and pain free you can stay mobile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why when I train people, somebody just told me to check the super chats, guys. I didn't actually say we were going to be checking super chats, so it is what it is. Thank you very much, Rancid. I'm not even looking at those things, guys. So, thank you for them. You don't need to, but when people don't see that it's like actually hurting themselves, it's a fucking issue. It really, really is.
It's because I kind of people always use the smoking, or it's even the same if you're an alcoholic or something. If we were letting, if alcoholics were just getting bladdered on, on their YouTube channel doing like mukbangs, but with alcohol, people would be really, really concerned.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer this one thing that says Alan isn't sexist for going after quote unquote obese women. He goes after. In fact, I don't know if I can do this. Well, I can't do it anymore. He goes after these women because he respects them and their health. I want to be very clear. I don't go after anybody. Okay. I recite people's idiotic moments. I narrate people's idiotic moments, and then I use them as the framework and structure to try to disseminate information to people that might be following them and getting the wrong idea of what's healthy. So to say that in a very, very professional manner, I actually have that written out someplace. Believe it or not, I can do that without swearing. But that's what I do. I don't target anybody. I use people's idiotic moments and I narrate them in the framework of making sure that their dangerous, misleading information can have a counterpoint to people to try to help them get healthy. So I'm not trying to paint myself as some hero, because I am certainly not. But I will say that I do not actually go after people. Them putting themselves out there on a public forum with platforms, with people that will listen to every word that they say, hang on every word they say, and do the shit that they say to do. I think it's just very important that somebody has a method of making sure that they're counterbalanced and the proper healthy information is put out there to people.
Totally, yeah, because like you say, it is the idea of influencing, isn't it? I know I don't love the term influencer, but that's what happens. That's what these ideas are. And if you're not allowed to give your right to respond without it being an attack, I think that's kind of a sad thing.
Yeah, I agree. Give me 1 second here. I wanted to answer back that person. I get you. There we go. But I just think that I think that what you do is very, very, very important. But do you have any future plans for any more follow-ups?
I know I've a couple of ideas. I thought maybe about doing something about the obesity epidemic itself. I think that one's going to be a little bit harder because it's like we can't blame one particular thing. I know. Yeah. Just quickly, what are your sort of? I know sugar has become we've got sugar tax over here now. So what sort of do you think about that? About your
Well, sugar. Like I've heard a bunch of people say there's no such thing as sugar addiction, which is just idiotic. People can be addicted to just about anything. I mean, there are people that are addicted to sex. Sex is a dopamine release in the brain. Guess what sugar does? It releases dopamine in the brain. So if you can be addicted to sex, you can definitely be addicted to sugar. Sugar is like the issue. The main issue with sugar is that it is everywhere. It has relatively no nutritional value besides adding calories and releasing dopamine from your brain. When we have somebody that comes to us that has a fairly serious sugar addiction, they show signs of withdrawal, all the way from the rationalization of trying to eat other sweet things. Like all of a sudden they'll eat pineapple and very, very ripe bananas all the fucking time because they taste very sugary, and they don't even realize they're doing it until we point it out to them oftentimes, but it is really, it is one of the things that, the government knows they could change. They know it's bad for you and they just allow it. Like you guys should have a sugar tax. It should be highly taxed. But if you look, like, you've been to a grocery store in America, right? There's literally aisles of sugar.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there'll be an aisle of just sodas, and then there'll be an aisle of just candy. And that doesn't include all the cereals and everything like that are highly laden in sugar. It's just it's a very, 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 we know it's bad for us. Like we know too much of it is bad for us. And yet it's like people are said, like encouraged over here to eat as much of it as possible.
Yeah, it's like with I know the whole Coca-Cola thing gets brought up all the time, but the whole idea of having cocaine in cola originally. So perhaps, I speculate maybe one day we will have a similar look back at sugar and be like, we can't believe that.
Look at smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking cigarettes at one point in time, doctors used to say it was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's no shit.
Yeah. You used to recommend it. The advertisements,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know that. Like the people that make money off shit are oftentimes the people that get to decide what can be said.
Mm-hmm.
That's with that kind of money. Like they get to lobby, which is a whole other fucking thing. But they get to lobby, they get to decide what they can say, and then it takes people, unfortunately, citizens dying or becoming sick for like all of a sudden, hey, this probably isn't good for us. I think that we're seeing that right now, and I think this is the final that's another thing too, where I don't get into politics much, but I find it amazing that most of these people consider themselves extremely, extremely liberal people in America, or progressive, however, whatever you want to frame it. Although, like, I consider myself a progressive because I don't believe in a lot of shit that other people believe in, but they say they're very, very liberal, and yet they are totally like the pawns of big pharma, big food, fast food, big soda, the soda industry. Like, they're totally like the fucking pawns of these people. Like, whenever you see like I think it's Sophie Hagen, where she was like had the picture of her with the burger like this, like, what do you get, like almost like in a scoffing way, like she admits she has an eating disorder, and then still shows herself smashing a big burger into her face, which Instagram should fucking flag that instantly, because she admits she has an eating disorder, and then they show her smashing a burger. But
I mean, could you imagine if fat acceptance did become like this whole mainstream thing? Those companies would love to do advertising.
Yeah, McDonald's McDonald's, like, when you make really shitty cheap food that you then mark up for huge prices, and you pay like 14-year-olds to put it together, because like they pay their workers next to nothing. They get tons of fucking tax breaks in America, like all that shit. But when you have that, they want people to consume as many of those motherfuckers as possible. They're like restaurant chains do they go off what's called the average order. The average order is a huge thing to them. That's why they upcharge to, do you want a soda with that? Do you want this? That's why they charge 10 cents for a glass instead of just giving you water. That's why they do those things. And when you have people being like, I'm going to eat for pleasure, I'm going to eat what I want, look at this, like, it's so very consumerism and consumptionism that it's so very and then if you look at like how much, like, that extra food, the carbon imprint, I did something about that too. I did something about that, and I had some dumb motherfucker be like, he lies about how many calories he takes in. And I sit in a chair for 14 hours a day talking to clients, you assholes. But when you think about that aspect of it too, it's just such consumerism that they have no like ground to stand on when their biggest complaints are I'm paying too much for this dress, even though it has twice the material. That's such consumerism. Like they're so like kind of very lost as a movement. Like, it's really kind of sad. They have
no identity, really, do they?
No.
I don't think they know what they are.
No, they really, really don't. It's really kind of sad when you run into, because they have no argument next time, most of the time. Well, you're just mean, you're just fat phobic. That's where the fat phobic thing comes in. Well, keep your fat phobia. I don't know why you have such internalized fat phobia. They always tell you should get help for that. Like, I'm not the one that's eating myself to death. You should maybe get some help. Like, how about this? We'll go together. I'll find out why, like, I'm terrified of, fucking, gaining 150 pounds and causing myself diabetes and my feet to get cut off. I'll discuss that with a person. If you discuss with a person why you're totally willing to accept, eating yourself to death, I'd make that trade with somebody. I really would. And it's like the obesity epidemic would be an interesting one for you. I think that one would be very intensive. Like,
I think it's going to be, if I go that way, it's going to be harder because it's going to have to, I'm going to have to make sure I make the right moves. Whereas something like the fat acceptance, I kind of know where I stand on it and everything.
Right.
Was that one, I think that one would be harder. So that would probably be something in the future. And I thought about doing like maybe some small shorts. There's some stuff that has happened since this one with the grandmas and so on and so forth. That
Yeah, it's been an interesting fucking road for you with that shit. So, yeah, I mean, like, I always obviously get like people send me that like this person's talking shit. It's just another fucking person talking shit. You know, like, I mean, I found it like egregious that they were like reaching out to people's family members and shit like that. I find that shit kind of fucking crazy. It's not like your parents don't know what you do.
Yeah.
You know, like you're a filmmaker. I'm pretty sure your parents have seen your fucking film.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. I just find it kind of crazy.
And it's like messaging, like you said, your wife or my girlfriend is like they're gonna think, oh, you're right, my husband, my boyfriend's an idiot. I'm leaving him. You know, I'm joining fat acceptance.
Because tons of people have messaged Crystal being like, your husband's an asshole. Tons. Like, these are not they're not in some sort of exclusive club. But I was just shocked at how like hypocritical it got so quick. Like to automatically go to the abuse thing, not even taking it like it's in no way like if she was being abused, is that like that is totally not the way to handle that. Like it's so insensitive to a woman's plight. Like if you think she's being abused, be like, well, he must abuse you. Like I mean, like it was so. I mean, when your girlfriend got the same thing, I just find that fucking sad. Like I mean, that's like I believe my wife wrote back to the only person that's harassing me is you. You know, like type thing or something like that.
I think that was a similar response from my girlfriend as well, and it sort of carried on, and it was like, and then sort of posting about her, and you know, and saying, well, she agrees with him, she hasn't stopped, and just like, why would she even listen to you if you go in with that straight away? She's not going to give you the time of day.
My thing was, it wasn't an actual attempt to just have a discussion with her. It was an attempt to just either berate her. Or like, she really thought she was like. First of all, like, do these people think my wife doesn't know what I do? Because she is actually my boss, and I'd said that before then, you know. And the other shit is like, I was amazed at like how insensitive it was towards women. You know, when she's supposedly for women, like it was so insensitive. Like, you know, especially because like. It, you know, as it does turn out, my wife was a victim of abuse in a previous relationship. I found it like so like I apologized to her. I was like, I'm sorry you went through that. She was like, I can't believe she actually said that, not knowing whether I was or not. Like that's how insensitive is that? And that's when I actually thought about it. I you know, the whole scenario, like I mean, they of course tried to reach out to me, but I realized very quickly who wants to actually have a conversation and who just doesn't, you know. And of course they said I still get the fucking like the random account, like they try to bait you into saying something, you know, where it's like and I do try to answer as many DMs as possible. We get hundreds and hundreds a day, but I'll get the ones like, so of course you believe in this. Do you know, this is why, you know, they're trying to like mislead you into obviously getting a screenshot.
There's one, I know that Gary has been posting a lot of stuff of very like gay things, like men in cowboy hats and obviously like gay videos and stuff, and been trying to tag people, and that's just a bait attempt. She wants him to say something homophobic.
That's homophobic in itself. I mean, that
exactly.
Really is.
Yeah.
Like so
you want to get that bit of dirt so you can use it, but it's like, what are you doing?
That's so wrong all in itself, though. Like, first of all, if like, because I saw her aim one of those posts at one person. You know, they sent it like a couple posts at one particular person, right?
Yeah.
And it's Nelson. He was in your follow up. But like, what? That's so homophobic. Like, first of all, what if he does just dance around in a cowboy hat and everything like that? Does that make him less of a person? I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I you know, I mean, this is no shit. Where I live, there is a country bar that my wife will go to listen to country music, and it's connected to a drag queen bar. and we'll fucking listen to country music, and then you'll walk through a door. They're connected, and you can play drag queen bingo. You know, I mean, like I don't fucking care. They're not trying to fuck me. I mean, like I don't. I don't like. I'm always amazed that people make such a big deal about that. But like her, like I mean, to her,
who's meant to be the ambassador of all these things and labeling everyone homophobic, transphobic,
or anybody like her. That shit should really fucking like that should like. If she sees somebody doing that, it should rub them the wrong way. Like, okay, you may not like this person, but let's not fucking do this whole stereotypical gay guy thing. That's fucking. That's so fucking.
Yeah, like very very like basic sort of
you know,
playground stuff.
Hang on 1 second. I was checking the. Apparently, since I brought up politics, people are fucking getting all political in the fucking. If the politics don't central around people watching, if they don't central around the fat acceptance community, don't fucking talk about it. Will be the link in the comments.
Yeah, because it happens. It does become political because they have attached themselves to.
They want to make it that way because because then it garners a larger like support base. You know, like but I think that's where I'm able to like kind of transcend that shit because I believe that both Republicans and Democrats are idiots on fucking some marks. Like
I'm pretty centrist as well.
Yeah, so I believe if you follow one political party to like you're ready to go off a cliff with them, that's a very rare human being that actually has all those beliefs. Like a perfect example is in our country is the legalization of marijuana. Like 80% of our country believes in legalization of marijuana. I don't know why it's not. And I mean, I know why it's not because big business, right? But like my thing is like neither party really does, like neither party really is for it. Otherwise it would absolutely be done.
Yeah.
Like that's how you can tell like people really don't believe in politics all that much. So that's why I don't like, we don't want to talk about it that much. But if it's not, that's why I'm saying if it's not centralized around fat acceptance, please don't do it. But we were talking about the fucking sugar industry and all that shit, and that's big business. It's fucking it's politics, you know. But I think like if you would do an obesity epidemic one, the problem you would run into is there's just so much information.
Exactly, that and it's where do I put my attention to and what?
There's so much, dude. I have files and files and files and files and files of research, you know. And the problem I mean, you can base it down to a few things. Sugar is definitely one of them, but the standardized American diet is huge. It's what's killing the planet. Like, it really is. The portion sizes, the dependence upon refined flour, which refined flour is also a pretty addictive substance. That's why pizza is the perfect addiction food, by the way. Like, just for those of you wondering, like pizza, like be careful with your pizza consumption because it is when it grows. Like I personally, when I was at my heyday, I could fucking take an extra large pizza, fold that fucker in half, and just eat it. Like I mean, like it was nothing. But pizza has refined flour, which a lot of people have problems with when it comes to binge eating and overeating. Refined flour, highly palatable, very nutrient sparse, but very calorically dense. Got a lot of oils, got a lot of fats, got sugar both in the sauce and in the dough. It's got a lot of salt. There's a lot of salt in there. Like, so it's salty, sweet, fatty, and then you put the toppings on it, which can have some crunch to it too. So it hits you texturally also. And we're like led in our country to believe it's the every occasion food. If you're happy, you get pizzas, you celebrate together. If there's a sporting event, you celebrate together. If you're sad, I'll bring over pizza and we'll talk about it. Like, it's the quickest, easiest thing to get. It's super fucking cheap over here. And I mean, it's really like,
and it's customizable. You can add your own preferences. It's And
I mean, and they like it's sold. It is recognized as a vegetable for our school lunch programs. Like, it's actually recognized as a vegetable, which is
what is that like in America? What are the school lunches like there?
Well, they have a particular like guideline that you have to meet. Like, you have to have a certain amount of veggies, syrups, whatever like that. So they have like a main entree, and then they have a secondary entree, right? However, where'd it go? Okay. However, they have side stations too, and it's normally chicken fingers, French fries, pizza station, that sort of thing. And that's where most of the kids eat on a daily basis. I know my son ate pizza just about every fucking day. for a long time when he was in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was, you know.
I remember there's a time at school I used to bring in like chips and all this sort of stuff and used to sell them. And I actually got this. The school came to me and said, you know, you can't do that because it's unhealthy. But at the cafeteria, they were selling fish and chips, burgers, sausages, like pizza, and it was like the hypocrisy of that as well. I think children are taught, aren't they, from such a early age, and it's like, oh, let children be children and choose what they want to eat and stuff. But it's like, of course, we're going to pick pizza and chips and.
I mean, oh, hey, I hate to even cut this short, but I actually have a client I got to get to, dude.
No problem.
I just realized we talked for almost 2 fucking hours. So holy shit. Hey, everybody,
Thank you for having me.
Connor, I wanted to thank you. Holy shit, I cannot believe we just talked for 2 hours. Connor, it was a pleasure. We got to do it again. I want to have you on the Swole Avengers and maybe a few other people.
That'd be great.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, at Real Conor Luke. And the movie, The Dark Side of Fat Acceptance, is out at www.fattopiamovie.com.
And Connor, I want you to do me a favor. Once this renders, please post that website as a comment, and I'll pin it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I loved your documentary. I loved your work.
It was a lot of fun.
You could have taken some shots of me. You didn't. But no. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I appreciate you sitting through 2 fucking hours. I didn't even realize. Holy shit, dude. So it was great talking to you. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yep. See you soon.